Have you ever pondered why India, a country geographically distant from the South China Sea, would be entangled in its disputes? This question, while intriguing, brings us to the genesis of India's involvement in the South China Sea disputes. The story begins with a shift in stance under the administration of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This shift saw India expanding its defense cooperation, conducting joint military exercises, and even providing military sales and assistance to claimant states such as the Philippines and Vietnam. It was a strategic pivot that moved India from a position of neutrality to being actively engaged in the tumultuous waters of the South China Sea. This wasn't a sudden leap into the unknown, but rather a calculated move, a chess play on the global stage. But what prompted this change? What factors could have driven India to become part of a dispute far from its own shores? As we delve deeper, we see that India's involvement is not merely a whim, but a strategic move driven by various factors. So, what fuels India's growing involvement in the South China Sea disputes? Well, this engagement is not arbitrary. It is a strategic maneuver driven by a myriad of factors. Firstly, India has vested strategic interests in the region. By involving itself in these disputes, India ensures its voice is heard, thereby securing a role in shaping the future of this geopolitically significant region. Secondly, freedom of navigation is a crucial concern. Many of India's trade routes pass through the South China Sea. Any disruption could have dire consequences for India's economy. So, a seat at the negotiation table provides a buffer against any such potential disruptions. Thirdly, the desire to secure oil and gas resources is another driving force. With India's growing economy and energy needs, these resources are vital to its development. Furthermore, the United States plays a significant role in India's increased involvement. Both countries share common interests in containing China's rise. As India aligns more closely with the US, its involvement in the South China Sea disputes deepens. India's involvement, although driven by various factors, is a calculated move in the grand chessboard of geopolitics. India's presence in the South China Sea is expected to amplify. But what are the implications of this increased involvement? Let's dive in. As India steps up its involvement, the already intricate South China Sea disputes may encounter additional complexities. With New Delhi offering military aid and a more supportive rhetoric to China's rival claimants, the geopolitical chessboard is set for a reshuffle. On the other side of the globe, the United States watches closely. The shared interests of India and the US in containing China's rise could potentially result in American support for India. This could bring a new dimension to the disputes and possibly shift the balance of power. However, we must also address the elephant in the room: India's limitations. Unlike the United States, India lacks strong alliances and a significant military presence in the region. This puts a cap on the influence India can assert in these disputes. Although India's influence may be limited, its increasing involvement in the South China Sea disputes is undoubtedly shaping the dynamics of the region. As the story unfolds, the world watches with bated breath. As we navigate the waters of the South China Sea disputes, India's increasing involvement paints a complex picture. The country, under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, has been steadily expanding its influence in this geopolitical hotspot. This includes enhancing defense cooperation, conducting joint military exercises, and providing military sales and assistance to claimant states such as the Philippines and Vietnam. India's stance on the South China Sea disputes has shifted notably, now expressing support for adherence to international law, particularly the 2016 Arbitral Tribunal Award. This shift in position is driven by a mix of strategic interests, concerns for freedom of navigation, and the desire to secure oil and gas resources. However, the landscape of global alliances and rivalries presents some clear limitations to India's involvement. While the country shares common interests with the United States in containing China's rise, its influence is comparatively limited, due to the lack of strong alliances and a military presence in the region. In conclusion, India's growing involvement in the South China Sea disputes reflects its evolving strategic interests, a testament to the changing dynamics of global geopolitics.